It may sound hard to admit out loud, but there comes a moment when the truth hits. After 60, the people who once promised to always be around often vanish first. And it's not a soap opera. It's real life. The scariest part? It's not always out of malice. Sometimes it's just neglect. Many of us enter this stage of life thinking our children will care for us, our grandchildren will visit, and lifelong friends will stick around. But reality brings a different chapter no one taught us how to read. And when you realize you're being left behind, the first feeling is pain, then disappointment, and if you're wise, it turns into freedom. Yes, freedom, because it's when you stop counting on everyone else that you start to see who, or what, you can actually rely on. And when that moment comes, everything changes. The real supports in life don't make noise. They don't promise. They just stay quiet, steady, and real. In this video, you'll uncover the 7 true pillars that hold up a meaningful, courageous, and dignified life after 60. And a warning, family, as much as we love them, isn't one of them. At least not in the way you expect. What you're about to see is strong. It may challenge your beliefs. It may sting a little, but it'll also open your eyes and your heart to a truth most people are too afraid to say. If you stay with me until the end, you'll leave with a new sense of clarity about yourself, your path, and the power still alive inside you. Because the real supports that protect your well-being and later life aren't found outside. They're born in the moments when everything else seems to fall away. There comes a moment, quietly, almost cruelly, when the house grows quiet, the phone rings less, and visits become rare events. The people who once filled our days with noise and love now seem to drift into the background. Not because of any argument or fault, just life. Priorities change, and we're left behind, echoing in silence. We expect to be more present in our children's and grandchildren's lives. After all, we gave everything: time, stories, sacrifices. But when the affection doesn't come back as we hoped, it hurts. Not physically, but deeply. Sometimes we justify their absence. They're busy. Life is hectic. But the emptiness builds up, like dust on a shelf no one touches anymore. That's when denial kicks in. We smile through it. We pretend we're okay. But the soul knows better. And worst of all, some begin to blame themselves. Did I do something wrong? No, it's just life shifting. But that doesn't mean you have to settle for being sidelined. The problem isn't loneliness. It's normalizing it, accepting it as if you no longer deserve care and attention. Oddly enough, it's often through this disappointment that people find a new strength. I've seen it in people who, after the pain of being forgotten, chose not to be victims. They cried, yes, but then they acted. A woman in my group therapy once told me, "I used to wait for my daughter's Sunday calls. Now, I take myself to the park and sip wine watching old movies." That's transformation. This isn't about giving up on people. It's about rediscovering life outside of them. When family doesn't come, the garden still blooms. The sky's still blue. And your time is still yours. One of the best tips for a longer life is to stop placing your happiness entirely in someone else's hands. Emotional dependence, after 60, can be as toxic as chronic illness. This awakening demands courage. But once you realize their absence doesn't diminish your worth, something powerful emerges. You begin to see that not all supports come from others. Some start with what you choose to do with your own time, like the routines you build for yourself. When life feels uncertain, one thing can calm the chaos: knowing how your day begins. Routine, something we once dismissed in youth, becomes a quiet anchor in later life. It adds rhythm, peace, and purpose. Waking up at the same time, sipping coffee slowly, watering the garden. These small acts can ground the mind, improve sleep, and even strengthen immunity. Repetition brings comfort. Emotional stability after 60 is as valuable as gold. One woman told me, "When I lost my husband, I clung to my morning journal. It started with tears, now it's poetry." Simple habits become emotional structures. Whether it's tea at 4 p.m. or your favorite news program, routines remind you that life still has shape and color. When routine disappears, due to illness, a move, or even holidays, everything falls out of sync. Mood changes, memory slips, energy drains. Think of it like removing the tracks from a train. That's why structure is as important as any medicine, but without the side effects. Want to build your own routine? Start small. Choose 3 enjoyable things to do daily. Reading a devotional, walking, listening to classical music. Space them out. And most importantly, honor them. Treat them as sacred appointments with yourself. This creates meaning, focus, and even joy. Structured routines improve physical health too. Research shows that seniors with regular schedules experience less anxiety, better digestion, and fewer falls. Morning stretches, regular meals, and consistent bedtimes, it all matters. And the best part? You can start today. No rush. Just consistency. One man I know was depressed after retiring. He felt useless until he created a mission routine, feeding birds, calling 2 friends, cooking lunch. 3 months later, he'd lost weight, laughed more, and ditched his antidepressants. Nothing fancy, just purpose reclaimed. Routine gives you back control. You no longer wait for something to happen. You decide what happens. That's emotional freedom and dignity. And once you've built that rhythm, you begin to need others less and rely more on something much closer, your own body. Over time, we learn a tough but freeing truth. Your health is the one companion that never leaves, unless you abandon it first. Friends may fade, family may be busy, but your body? It's with you every step of the way. It speaks in aches, short breaths, or lack of energy. But when cared for, it responds with strength, clarity, and peace. Aging with good health is aging with freedom. This doesn't mean becoming an athlete or dieting like a monk. It means becoming aware. Drink more water, sleep better, move more. These little choices add up to protection against illness, dependence, and emotional exhaustion. Take Antonio, 82, hypertensive since 60. He cut back on salt, swapped soda for tea, and joined a walking group. Now he stands straighter than men half his age, and he inspires. Good health is magnetic. It improves how others treat you. No one enjoys being around constant complaints. But strength and joy, that draws people in. When your body feels good, everything gets better. Energy lifts your mood. Better mood improves your relationships. And connection boosts affection. It's not magic, it's chemistry. And the opposite is true too. When health fades, life shrinks. Sadly, some people will distance themselves. That's why protecting your health is protecting your worth. Investing in health is like investing in real estate. Never too late and always worth it. You don't need miracles, just consistency. Start small, hydrate, stretch, reduce sugar, stay updated on checkups. And don't forget laughter. It lowers blood pressure and heals the soul. Mental health matters just as much. I've met folks with perfect cholesterol but a toxic spirit, full of resentment. Let it go. Read books like The Power of Now or The Gifts of Imperfection. Therapy, prayer, or even journaling can lighten a heavy heart. Don't ignore recurring symptoms. That backache, that dry cough, that broken sleep, your body whispers before it shouts. Catch it early. A yearly checkup, safe sun exposure, regular digestion. These are basic steps toward longevity. And when you start treating your body like an old friend, it begins to reward you. Gradually, steadily. And that opens the door to a deeper kind of connection, not with the crowd, but with the few who matter. As time goes by, life filters out what truly matters. And one of the first things to fall away? Casual friends. The ones who showed up at parties or in the good times. But aging has a funny way of cutting through the noise. What's left isn't many, it's real. A few loyal walking buddies, a neighbor who knocks just to say hello, someone who remembers your favorite book. These people don't show up because they have to, they show up because they want to. In this phase, we learn, having many friends isn't the same as having true ones. 5 people who care deeply are worth more than 500 who barely notice. Real friends check in without a reason. They show up with soup when you're sick. They sit quietly with you and somehow say everything without words. Loyalty in old age is quiet and priceless. I remember Dona Nina. Every Tuesday for 20 years, she's had tea with 2 neighbors. When my husband died, they held me up, she said. Even more than my children did. That's friendship. Not flashy, just steady. You don't buy it. You nurture it with presence, patience, and honesty. And it becomes one of the greatest supports for elderly well-being. You don't need to go far to build it. Sometimes, your best friend lives next door. All it takes is a warm, good morning that turns into a real conversation. Join a local group, a senior center, a faith community. Or try a tech app made for older adults. Just remember, be the friend you wish you had. The energy you give out tends to come back. And don't be afraid to let go of toxic ties, even old ones. But we've known each other forever. That means nothing if they hurt you. If someone only calls to criticize or drain you, it's okay to release that bond. As the saying goes, real friendship is when silence feels comfortable between you. And at this age, peace matters more than politeness. These loyal few are more than emotional anchors. They help practically. A ride to the doctor. A reminder to take your pills. A heads up about the new Tai Chi class. You don't need an army. You need one or two who show up. That changes everything. Ask yourself, who can I be completely myself around? If 2 or 3 names come to mind, celebrate. If none do, don't worry. There's still time. Seek spaces where people share your values. Start with one smile, one invitation. Because loneliness may shorten life, but connection, it extends it. And as those bonds deepen, you may notice something else beginning to stir. Something even more personal, more internal. A kind of peace no one else can give. A strength that starts in silence and leads to something greater. There are moments when no hug is enough. No advice hits the mark. No visit, no matter how kind, can reach the quiet ache inside. That's where spirituality comes in, not as a forced religion, but as a sacred space that's just yours. It can be a morning prayer, a whispered thank you before bed, or simply staring at the sunset with a sense of wonder. In later life, this inner connection can bring more comfort than anything else. With age, faith becomes less about rules and more about refuge. It doesn't matter what name you give it: God, energy, nature, peace. What matters is that it speaks to you. I once met a man who lit a candle daily for his late wife and wrote letters to her. It's not about grief anymore, he said. It's about gratitude. That's faith. Not loud, but deep. Spirituality offers answers when the world falls silent. It teaches us that loss is part of love, that emptiness has wisdom, and that pain, too, can be a teacher. It's not a sedative, it's a compass. Many older adults return to it later in life, seeking meaning not in books, but in presence. And what they find is peace. And science agrees. Studies show that seniors with spiritual practices live longer, manage illness better, and report less depression. No surprise, then, that many hospitals offer prayer rooms, guided meditations, and spiritual care. Faith doesn't heal the body directly, but it strengthens the spirit. And a strong spirit can carry a heavy body. Take Elsa, 76, widowed and recovering from 3 surgeries. How did you get through it? I asked. I talk to God every day, she smiled. Sometimes I just complain, but he listens. That's personal faith. It doesn't erase the struggle, but it gives it meaning. If you've never explored your spirituality, it's never too late. Start small. Try journaling 3 things you're grateful for each night. Read a book like The Shack, The Prophet, or Man's Search for Meaning. Use a meditation app for just 5 minutes a day. It doesn't have to be complex. It just has to be real. And remember, faith doesn't need to be loud. It can live in a quiet corner of your home, in a verse taped to the fridge, in a single breath. What matters is that it grounds you when no one else can. Because some days, even friends and doctors can't reach the ache, but faith can. And once that inner peace is alive and well, something else starts to rise. A desire to protect your space, your energy, your decisions. And that brings us to something extremely practical and powerful. There's a kind of freedom that only grows more valuable with age, the freedom to choose. And it starts in your wallet. Financial independence, for many, is the line between dignity and dependence. When you control your money, you control your time, your choices, and your peace. It's that simple. Too many older adults rely fully on their children or meager pensions. And where there's dependence, manipulation can creep in. You don't get to decide, Mom. I'm paying. Heard that before? That's not support. That's control. And it chips away at your confidence, your autonomy, your voice. But here's the good news. It's never too late to clean up your finances. I know a man who sold his used car, turned his guest room into an Airbnb, and now earns steady extra income, while meeting new people and keeping his mind sharp. That's not luck, it's action. And action breeds dignity. Financial control also brings emotional power. You feel less guilty saying no. You stop fearing judgment. You start living on your terms. Apps like Mint, Good Budget, or even a simple notebook can help you track what comes in, what goes out, and what can be trimmed. And let's talk about boundaries. Many seniors are financially drained by their own family, lending credit cards, paying bills for adult kids, raising grandchildren without support. Enough. Say it with love, but say it firmly. No more. That's not selfish. That's survival. A practical step? Map your money. Write down your income, your expenses, your needs versus wants. Cancel subscriptions you don't use. Downsize if needed. Every little shift is a brick in your wall of independence. And that wall, it protects you. Don't forget, financial knowledge is power. YouTube channels, free online courses, and podcasts now teach older adults how to manage, invest, and save. Explore creators like Nath Finankas, Gustavo Cervesi, or even AARP's guides. Start small, but start. And once you feel that control return, that I can choose feeling, it awakens something deep. A fire that says, I still matter. I still decide. And when that fire lights up, it illuminates the most powerful pillar of all. In the end, it all comes down to a quiet moment in the mirror, looking into your own eyes and realizing the strongest support you'll ever have has been there all along. Being your own support doesn't mean being alone. It means being enough, being the hug you needed, the voice of encouragement, the one who doesn't leave. It's not isolation, it's emotional maturity. It's knowing that even when everything else falls, relationships, plans, even health, there's still a solid part of you standing. Many people over 70 discover a version of themselves they never met before, calmer, wiser, bolder. And that version is born the moment you stop waiting on others for what only you can give yourself. I met a woman who enrolled in an art class after being forgotten by her kids. It started as a distraction, she said. Now it's my purpose. Reinvention has no expiration date. Learn a language. Write your story. Start a YouTube channel to inspire others your age. It's not too late. Being your own support also means doing things just for you. A morning walk in your favorite clothes. Cooking something that brings you joy. Reading poetry aloud to yourself. These rituals build emotional muscle. They remind you that, even without applause, you're worthy. And yes, it also means forgiving yourself for the mistakes, the missed chances, the silence. The past can weigh heavy, but grace is the light that lifts it. Try writing yourself a letter. Say what you admire. Say what you wish for now. Read it. Save it. Believe it. Create sacred time. 15 minutes a day, just for you. Prayer, meditation, a warm bath, classical music. These little acts nourish the soul and deepen your sense of self. And the deeper that connection, the stronger every other support becomes. Because when you are your foundation, nothing and no one can shake you. And perhaps now, with all this in view, you're ready to reflect on what really remained after everything else fell away. So tell me, which of these 7 supports are already strong in your life? And which ones do you still need to build, starting today? Making it this far is no small feat. Living past 60 with clarity, wisdom, and the desire to grow is a victory. But now you hold something even greater, awareness. Because when you know where to step, you're less likely to fall. And when you know where your true supports come from, you stop begging for love in places that only offer silence. So I ask you, will you keep waiting for that call that never comes? Or will you take the lead, rebuild your rhythm, care for your health, choose your circle wisely, reconnect with your spirit, protect your finances, and above all, have the courage to stand tall on your own? If this message touched something inside you, and I believe it did, it's time to act. Reorganize your life. Reignite your strength. And don't let the past define what's still possible. The years ahead can be the best yet, but only if you do what most never will. Begin. Now tell me in the comments, which of these supports speaks to you most? Your story might be the inspiration someone else is waiting for. And if you want to keep learning and growing with us, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Here, we talk directly to you, with honesty, wisdom, and heart. Because you deserve to live this chapter fully, with dignity, joy, and truth.